his attack.
What's happening, my people? It's Cass Sports again, back for another afternoon with the family. Now, as usual, before I get started, let me give a shout out to the JBT community. It's just boxing talk. We're a group of people who just love to talk boxing. And we're always looking for others to join us. And you don't have to have a podcast. The only requirement is you just have to love to talk boxing. That's all. Boxing is the greatest sport of them all. That's why we love it. Can't get enough of it. And you know what time it is. If it's Monday through Friday, 2 p.m., it's The Boxtorian, bringing you all that boxing history. Today, boxing in the States, Minnesota. Miss Cass, hashtag JBT. Melanin Queen, 27. Mike Mazik, Define Irony 1. Salute to everyone, and welcome to another episode of Cass Sports, The Boxtorian. How's everyone today? Thursday afternoon edition of Cass Sports, The Boxtorian. It's time for boxing in the States again. Minnesota. Got a little short history for Minnesota. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at Minnesota, and then we're going to look at the top 10 pay-per-view fights of all time. And a fun fact, 9 of the 10 top pay-per-view fights. Either Floyd or Mike Tyson was in 9 of the 10. Okay. Floyd was in 4 of the top 5. Okay. So we're going to look at those at the end. Remo had brought that up to me the other day. I did it a while back, but yeah, we're going to look at the top 10 before. Ain't that something? Floyd or Mike Tyson was in 9 of the top 10. Floyd in 4 of the top 5. But how's everybody? It's Thursday. Pulled up on another weekend. You know, we got boxing tonight, ESPN Plus, out of, I think it's Puerto Rico, I believe. Yeah, I can't remember who was headlining the card, but it's boxing here tonight. And then the big ESPN Plus card tomorrow out of Norfolk, Virginia, the Davis brothers, all 3 of them on the card. The youngest one making his debut fight, right? Keon. We got Keyshawn headlining. We got Calvin and the youngest Keon. And Keon is the youngest, but he's the biggest. He's at junior middleweight, right? So yeah, he's making his debut tomorrow with his 2 big brothers on the card with him. So yeah, that's got to be some kind of boost, you know, having your debut fight and you know, you got the nerves and everything, but your 2 big brothers right there with you, fighting later on that night. So yeah, so that's out of Norfolk at the Scope. The Scope, you know, Pernell Whitaker was Keyshawn's idol, and Pernell, I headlined the Scope, I think like 9 times. Remember we did Pernell a few weeks ago, the profile? He had like 9 fights he headlined at the Scope, right? And Keyshawn is following right in his idol's footsteps, both from Virginia, and now he's headlining the venue that his idol headlined numerous times. So yeah, that has got to be really exciting for Keyshawn, you know, his first time headlining a fight at home. Right there where his idol for that. So yeah, that's big. And did I tell you his little brother on the card? But that's everybody today, Thursday. We got that's probably the big one. No, that's probably the big one of the weekend, but we still got a couple more Saturday. Well, that's not really, because we got Boots and Kern Saturday too now. Yeah, Boots and Kern Saturday. Bam Rodriguez on the card. They've been talking about Bam and the Monster, and Bam said he's willing to jump up to 122 and take him on. But I don't know. I would have to lean toward the Monster in that one, you know, because the Monster is. He just signed with the Riyadh season, so yeah, maybe him and Bam will hook up on a Riyadh season card. Riyadh season would have to go to Japan though, because the Monster ain't coming out of there. Ray Patterson, straight out of New Jersey, in the building. What's up, RP? We got boxing in Minnesota today. We're going to be pulling up on New Jersey soon, RP, because we're in the M's. Boxing in the States will come to New Jersey very soon. Probably next month. We got Minnesota. Yeah, we're going to be getting to New Jersey soon, yeah. So, yeah, but we was just talking about, we got the card in Philly this weekend, Boots. And I hope Boots has learned how to cut the ring off. Now, Kern might mix it up, because like I told you the other day, I have seen Kern. Kern don't always run around the ring like that in his fights. I've seen him in the pocket fighting before, you know, throughout the fight. So maybe he won't do that this time. And I don't like calling boxers runners, but, you know, we got to call it for what it was. Kern ran for 12 rounds. Well, I know one thing. Kern has a serious gas tank on him, man, because he kept that up for 12 rounds. But Boots, like I told you, need to watch some Artur Beterbiev or Virgil Ortiz film. Those 2 guys are excellent at cutting the ring off, making it small for their opponents in there. Or watch that Hagler-Hearns fight we talked about yesterday, that 3-round fight, because, you know, I heard many people over the years say Hearns fought the wrong fight, he should have boxed. But Hearns tried to box, but Hagler cut the ring off on him, you know. And, you know, last time Boots just followed Kern. But what you got to do is you got to stay in front of him, and you got to block where he's trying to go. And, you know, get closer and closer, steadily pushing him toward those ropes. But that's the key to cutting the ring off. Wherever he's trying to go to, you got to stop him, you know. And Boots was always a step behind Kern, chasing the entire fight. So maybe he's corrected that this time. Because, man, that was crazy. I don't want to, none of us want to see that again. You know, that was a debacle. But Boots won about every round. He won the fight, but, you know, he didn't look good doing it. And I'm not saying he needs a knockout this weekend, but he needs to be dominant, man. Got to put Kern on the mat, you know. least 2 times. But yeah, it's coming up this weekend. And we got a re-art season this weekend too. I think it's Sunday. Zurdo. What is his name? Gilberto Ramirez, Zurdo. He's going up against Chris William Smith. That's in the cruiserweight division. I think Zurdo has a belt up there. Yeah. Very good card too. I think, is that the one Barrios is on? Very good card. I think Tevin Farmer is taking on somebody on there. Is it William, the Golden Boy fighter? Power guy. His offense is his defense. He just stands there winging, no defense. Like Billy. Just stands in front of you and throws punches, you know. When as soon as Bully's at 168, getting there with a good counter puncher like Canelo or David Morrell, he's going to sleep because they're going to punch right in between all those aggressiveness, all those punches he's doing, and put him to sleep. Just like Canelo did Munguia. He didn't put him to sleep, but he dropped him. So as soon as when Billy gets in there against the name, that's it for him. And the big Mike Tyson and Jake Paul is next weekend. Yeah, that's a good card too. Got Amanda and Katie on it, going for a junior welterweight. Going for junior welterweight. I'm not sure if that will be Amanda's 8th division. So she might tie Manny if she can win that fight. Because, she's got 7. I was supposed to check on that, but I didn't. But I think that anybody know that might be her 8th division. Yeah, Hagler was a little bit too strong for him, RP. And Hearns did try to box starting out, but Hagler just made him brawl. And Hearns couldn't handle that. And then when Hagler had all that blood coming down, Hagler had a sense of urgency, man, because the referee had just had the doctor look at it, and he was in danger of losing that fight on cuts, man. And Hagler said, no, I done waited too long for this big fight. 4 Kings fight, he got Hearns up out of there, yeah. And that was a fight of the year, 3 rounds. That was the same year Larry Holmes fought Spinks, 15-round fight, and then we had another barn burner was Jose Luis Ramirez. Was it Camacho, 12 rounds? And that 3-round fight won fight of the year against them big fights, man. Yeah. Let's Talk Fashion in the building. What's up, Let's Talk Fashion? Yeah. That was 3-round fight of the year plus round of the year. Now Hearns was in there was only 3 stoppages in the 4 Kings series. I don't count the No Mars fight, because Roberto stopped himself. Hearns was in all 3 of them. Wait a minute, was it 2 or 3? It was Hearns stopped Roberto Duran 2, and Hagler stopped Hearns. Only 2 stoppages in the 4 Kings series. Hearns was in both of them. I don't count the No Mars fight because Duran quit. That's not a stoppage. That's a quidditch. Quidditch. Is that a word? Quittagge, quidditch. That's what that was. So I don't call that a stoppage. Yeah, Hearns was in both stoppages in the 4 Kings series. Stopped Duran and got stopped by Hagler. Yep. But how's everybody? How are you? Let's Talk Fashion today. We're going to be talking about Minnesota. It's Thursday boxing in the States, but it's kind of short, so we're going to I got the idea you gave me the other day. Let's Talk Fashion about the paper. We're going to talk about the top 10 pay-per-views. Once we do Minnesota, it's not going to take. Minnesota's short. Some of these, we're going to do every state, but some of them don't have a lot of history. Or I couldn't find it or something. I found this thing on Minnesota. I'm going to try it, but the writing is real small. And if these 65-year-old eyes can't make it, we just going to stop and go to the boxes from Minnesota, then to the pay-per-views. I'm going to try to read it. It is real small. Wow. I'm going to just start it. But I apologize right now if I can't finish it. Okay? Yeah. And then we're going to talk about the top 10 pay-per-views. Like I was telling them, Remo, top 10 pay-per-views, either Floyd or Mike Tyson was in 9 of them. Yep. Either one of those 2 fighters was in 9 of the top 10 pay-per-views. And Floyd was in 4 of the top 5. The top is Manny. I thought somebody had passed it, but no. Conor McGregor and Floyd came in second place. I thought Conor McGregor and Floyd had passed Floyd and Manny, but no, that's number 2. And remember, I was talking about, when Mike's first fight out of prison was Peter McNeely, and that's number 9, right? No, number 8. And they wanted it to be Big George. So if Mike and Peter McNeely was 8, Mike and Big George would have been top 5, man. Yeah. But, Custy Amato, before he passed away, told Mike never to fight George Foreman, because the same thing that happened to Joe Frazier going to happen to you. Remember Joe Frazier, 6 knockdowns in 2 rounds? Cuss told Mike, don't fight him. And Mike remembered that. Even after Cuss passed away, Mike remembered what he told him. And because Mike religiously followed Cuss's instructions, and Cuss had been passed away for years. But Mike remembered that he did not fight George Foreman because Cuss told him. You see what happened to Joe Frazier? That's what's going to happen to you. You are too small and short-armed for that big monster named George Foreman, so it never happened. But I was just saying, if Mike and Peter McNeely can come in number 8 all-time pay-per-views, imagine Mike and Big George. That's top 5, man, all day long. And twice on Sunday, right? But how's everybody? It's almost the weekend. Of course, every day is the weekend for me. I'm just waiting on y'all to get to the weekend with me, Yeah. And tomorrow is Friday, the big day in the JBT. Wow. And we'll have Angry White Men tomorrow night at 10. D1 and William Old School of Rant. Yeah. And we're thinking about getting the more Let's Talk fashions, like a couple on the weekends, like Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, maybe 5 days a week, some weeks, We'll let you know. Okay. Okay. We're gonna start at 2:30. Yeah. And let's salute to everybody. Don't forget the new raffle we got. Just Do Boxing in the building. And Crush the Legend. Heavyweights coming in. Salute to Crush the Legend. 6 o'clock Shorty in the morning with the coffee and the donuts. And 4 o'clock Shorty. Just Do Boxing. The Voice in the building. I'm warming you up for Just Do. Because he's gonna come in here with that fire boxing talk. Everything going on in boxing nowadays, man. Balance, unbiased. So everybody, both sides get equal, get everything balanced. And everybody gets to Just Do it, Just Do Boxing. The Voice. Coming up at 4 o'clock. And of course, Crush the Legend in the morning. I'm telling y'all, man, y'all ain't getting up for that, man. I get up 6 o'clock every day for that, man. This morning talking about LL Cool J, man. I'm sitting in there learning, man. Yeah. Crush, you didn't mention Backseat of My Jeep, man. Or did you? I might have missed it. Let's swing an episode. Backseat of My Jeep. That was my favorite LL song, man. Whatever. Backseat of My Jeep. Let's swing an app. Yeah, that was bad, man. But that was this morning. On y'all better get up in the morning and watch that show, man. Or if you're on the way to work or getting ready for work, yeah. With the coffee and the donuts in the morning. I had tea and eggs with them, But it's a fire episode. And I'm warming you up for Just Do Boxing. But we're going to get ready to start. We're going to be talking about Minnesota today. A little short boxing in the States today. Every state can't be Michigan or New York. New York coming up too. I did something on New York last year. Remo had requested it. I'm trying to fight it because I'm going to do the same thing over again. Man, this is my, I got a lot of shows. This is my, let me see, where's it at, man? This is my 281st show. This is the 281st Passports. I got like 15 books of shows in that. I got to find that New York show because it's coming up. We're in the M's, Minnesota, right? Yeah. I'm going to do the exact same one. Y'all have forgot it because it was way last year. Mm-hmm. And I did a boxes from New York and everything, man. But yeah, Tank and Ryan is in those top 10. I think Tank and Ryan was that's the only one that's not Mike Tyson or Floyd in the top 10 is Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia. Number 6. That was number 6 all time. pay-per-views. The other 9 is Mike Tyson or Floyd Mayweather Jr. Yep. But Tank and Ryan messed it up. Mike and Floyd didn't get every position. Yep. But let's get ready to go with Minnesota. Boxing in the States, Minnesota. Yeah, I might not even mess with this article, man. I made it bigger, but then the words go outside the line. So, well, I'm going to try it. But I'm warning y'all ahead of time. We might not make it through it, okay? But salute, appreciate everybody. Yeah, you forgot that one, Crush? Yeah. I put it in there, but you didn't see it. Yeah, I wrote it in there. But you covered all the bases, though, man. Yeah, you did a great, excellent job on it, man. Yes. Yes, you did. I'm trying to tell them, man, what they missing. And, I thought when I'm retired and I was going to be able to sleep till 10, 11 o'clock, but Crush got me getting up at 6 o'clock every morning, man. Yeah, every morning. But it's all good because it's worth it. Yeah, it is well worth it. Boxing in the States, Minnesota. Yeah. And don't forget, tomorrow is the profile is Max Schmeling, right? And then we're gonna, if we have time, we're gonna look at some other German boxers too. Since Max is German, he's the profile. Yeah, we get to it. We're gonna look at some other German, about 10 other German boxers. It was some good ones. Sven Atke, Gerhard. I can't remember Gerhard's last name, but he fought Sugar Ray Robinson. He was one of those great 1950s middleweights. Gerhard was. Gerhard. That's a German name, Gerhard. Yeah, Gerhard, right. Some good boxers came out of Germany. Because once we finish this boxing in the States, guess what we're going to do? Boxing around the world. Every Thursday, we're going to do different countries. There's some boxers from those countries, right? So maybe I shouldn't talk about them German boxers tomorrow because then, I'm going to do it. And then y'all will be forgotten by the time Germany come around to talk about them again. Yeah. But that's tomorrow. And the matchups next week, fantasy matchups, is Roy Jones Jr. He's going to fight some of those 1950s middleweights. Remember the great, marvelous Marvin Hagler took about 3 L's against them 50s when I did him, remember? Yeah. A couple of them knocked Marvin off, man. 50s was the greatest decade of all for middleweight, man. Hands down. Yes, it was. Them guys battled. The French hated Jake LaMotta because he beat Marcel Cerdan and took his title, and then he took it. Marcel was on his way back over here for the rematch and died in a plane crash. So they hate Jake. They said, Jake, if you wouldn't have took his title, he wouldn't have been on that plane coming back over there to fight you in the rematch. So we hate you. Yeah. And they love Sugar Ray because he beat Jake 5 out of 6 times. Yeah. So Sugar Ray, they loved him when he went to Paris. Took his pink Cadillac over there with him. Mm-hmm. Met the king and some of the royalty over there. I'm not with a president. They had a president then, yeah. I said king. I'm thinking about way back in the old days. They met the president of France and some of the other famous people from over there. They loved him because he beat Jake for him. Their fighter, Marcel, couldn't do it. Yeah, but let's go with today's show. 2:29. I can't start before 2:30. Something bad happened. Like last week, I started at 2:27 and had technical difficulties for 20 minutes. So it's 2:30. And the phone say 2:30 and the laptop say 2:29. But now they all say 2:30. Let's go with today's show. Okay. Appreciate everybody coming through today. Hope you enjoy it. Boxing in the States, Minnesota. What they call Minnesota? What state is the Southern state? I should find it out before I start. Every state got a name, I don't even know what Maryland is. Maryland is the dandelion state, the crab state. I don't know. But anyway, boxing in the States, Minnesota. I know New York is the Big Apple state. Is that what they call New York, Remo? The Big Apple state? I don't know. I'm going to start finding out before I start. Okay. Now, boxing in the States, Minnesota. Now, boxing began in Minnesota in the 1860s, right? making it one of the first states to develop professional boxing. Now, the state has a rich history of boxing, including notable fighters, a boxing hall of fame, and records of amateur and professional fights. Now, the Boxing Hall of Fame over there in Minnesota. The Minnesota Boxing Hall of Fame was established in 2010 by Jake Wagner, who assembled a board of directors and announced the first inductees, right? Now, some of the inductees include Like, McCabe, Holmes, and Flanagan. I don't know why I didn't write the first name. Ain't that crazy? I know the Flanagans with Glenn and Dell Flanagan. They're going to be in boxing in the States, okay? Now, the Boxing Board of Records. Now, the Minnesota Boxing Board of Records, right, include information on fights, licenses, suspensions, complaints, and boxers' physical condition requirements. And the records also include contracts, scorecards, physicians' reports, and lists of boxers, managers, trainers, and promoters. Okay, now let's try this little article I got here, man. It's I warned y'all, I might have to stop. This writing is small. So let's do it. Okay, how's everybody today, though? It's Thursday. It's almost the weekend. Okay. Eyes hurting already. I wish my 3-year-old granddaughter was over here. I mean, it's 8-year-old one. I don't think the 3-year-old one can read that. He would read it. Okay. Damn, I was trying to make it bigger and made it small. Okay, there we go. Now, prize fights were rare in Minnesota during the early days. No doubt, because fights could be seen for free on the street, you know, or at the levee almost every day. Now, the Steamboat men had a reputation for being a particularly pugnacious lot, right? Frequently, an argument between two of them would wind up in a free-for-all with 20 or 30 men involved. Wow. Now, two such brawls occurred within a week during June 1857. Now, prize fights, while obviously popular among certain social sets, were looked upon with disdain by others. Now, the Pioneer Democrat for August 29, 1857 reported a rumor of a prize fight to be held at the racetrack that afternoon, right? And urged that the authorities break it up. Now, how it ended is anybody's guess, for the paper made no mention of it the next day. Now, at least one fight of the bare knuckle variety was held on July 13, 1869, at a spot about 3 miles from the city, on the Roberts-Chicago Red. No. 3 miles from the city, right? Okay. William O'Reilly, alias Chicago Red, fought William Johnson for a purse of $100, okay? Now, both were boys about 14 years old, and there were about 150 spectators, right? Johnson lost when he was unable to come to the line after the 14th round. And the promoter, a man by the name of McDowell, was fined $50 the next day in order to get out of town. They fined him $50 and told him, get out of town. Wow. $50 and get out of town and don't come back. McDowell, that was his name, McDowell. Now, the police were tipped off about another fight set for November between Johnny Hanson and Mike McDonald, right? And they promptly arrested both men, and each one was obliged to put up a $500 bond to keep the peace. Now, a fighter called Red-Handed Mike O'Connor claimed the lightweight championship of the state during this era. But so far as can be found, he never fought in Minnesota. Wow. He was from there, but never fought there. So how was he the lightweight champion of the state if he never fought there? That's crazy, ain't it? Ken Saul Love 1 in the building. What's up, Ken Saul Love 1? And Jarrell Hattie. What's up, Jarrell? How y'all doing today? And Bruce Gas, Boxing, Jazz, and more in the building. What's up, Bruce Gas? How are you? Always good to see Bruce Gas in here. Fire your channel too. I think I forgot when I forgot what day the trivia contest was. I missed it this week, but then I saw it advertised this morning. It was already over. Tough questions on their Bruce Gas trivial test, man. Last week I couldn't get none of them. Joe was in there answering everything, man. Yeah. But salute Bruce Gas, Boxing, Jazz, and more. Boxing in the States, Minnesota. Okay, let's get back to it. Gave my eyes a rest. Now, where was I? Yeah, they told McDowell to get out of town when he had promoted that fight and fined him $50. And then they locked up these other two guys. They had to pay $500. And McDowell had two boys fighting just 14 years old, man. And then they had the guy, red-headed Mike, was the champion of the state, but they said he never fought in the state. So what was that all about? Now, the first recorded scientific boxing exhibition was on August 23rd, 1871, at the Opera House. It was on Wabash between Kellogg Boulevard and 4th Street. Now, apparently, the sport had acquired some measure of respectability by then, right? Okay. Too big. If I make it too big, it go up the line. But it acquired some sort of respectability by then. For Ned O'Baldwin, a professional fighter, and his manager, Mr. Kelly, gave an exhibition, and there were several fights by local amateurs, and all were treated as regular news items, right? On July 15th, 1872, there was an evening of boxing at the Music Hall in the old Tilden building on 3rd Street, right? And the prize fights in other parts of the country were always described in the papers. Now, the Mullins-Keefe fight of June 15th, 1884 was the first professional local fight to be covered by reporters. A special train left the Minneapolis depot about 9 a.m. on Sunday with about 300 fans on board, right? Okay, now one of the fighters, let me get down here. Keefe and his trainer were picked up outside of town. And Mullins' party, the other fighter, they got on at Excelsior, right? And the train stopped about a mile east of Young America. And the ring was set up on a level spot in the shade of some oak trees. Wow. And the fight lasted 56 minutes, with Mullins being the winner. And they fought with hard gloves for a prize of $250. And on the return trip, Mullins passed the hat and raised $75 for the loser, because the winner got the money. The winner got $250, the loser got nothing. So Mullins, the winner, passed the hat around the train and collected some money for the loser, $75. You know, that wasn't bad in the 1800s, right? Yep. Okay. This thing jumps back and forth. Okay, now interest in boxing increased rapidly during this time. Now, several fights were held in the Market Hall at 7th and Wabash, in which Liverpool, a black heavyweight, Patsy Cardiff and C.A.A. Smith took part. And large gloves were used by police orders. Okay, so now the police were letting them fight, but they had to use large gloves. Yeah. Yeah, man, somebody was snitching, Remo. Terry Akers in the building. That's my favorite sister-in-law. What's up, Terry? Terry said she was coming over later on. See you in, Terry. But we're talking about the history of boxing in Minnesota today. Okay, Terry. See you in. You get here. Okay, let's continue. Where were we? Yeah, Remo. Somebody was snitching. Every time they had a fight, the police knew about it. But now apparently the police let them fight, but they stipulated the size of gloves. They made them fight in large gloves, right? Okay, let me find out where I was at. Yeah, the police ordered them to fight in large gloves, right? Then there was promoter fighter John S. Barnes. John S. Barnes was a promoter and a fighter, right? And he is mentioned first in 1884 as the manager of the St. Paul League Baseball Club and the promoter of a couple of sports carnivals at White Bear on Decoration Day and July 4th, right? Now, at those events, prizes of up to $800 were advertised. Wow. On November 2nd, 1884, Barnes arranged a fight between himself and Tom McAlpin. He was a promoter and a fighter. Tom McAlpin was an old-time prize fighter, right? And the newspaper announced the date and said the fight would be on a steamer, right? Red Rock on the riverbank. Wow. Now, Barnes won by a knockout, and there was nothing said about gloves being worn, so it must have been bare knuckles. And for Thanksgiving Day, Barnes lined up another fight with a man named Norton to be held at the St. Paul Gym. Small gloves were to be used, and the purse was worth $500, right? And guess what, Remo? The police stopped this one. Yep, somebody tipped them off again. It appears that some prize fights were legal and others were not, because remember the police stipulated the gloves for the other one. Some were legal, others were not, right? Now, one such contest that was illegal, right, was between Fred Weber of St. Paul, Minnesota, and Patsy Mellon of Minneapolis, Minnesota, right? It was held in a barn near the Milwaukee Short Line in Hennepin County on December 7th. Okay, got to get back over here. This thing is jumping back and forth. It was held on December 7th, right? And it turned into a regular riot. The fight turned into a riot. And the spectators did more fighting than the fighters did that day. And the newspaper said, plenty of blood was spilled. And it was a brutal affair. It turned into a riot. Wow. Plenty of blood was spilled. It was a brutal affair. Okay. Now, another such fight was the Patsy Cardiff Billy Wilson match held on June 14th, 1885. About 500 spectators were on hand for this one on a steamer. Now, the steamer was called Aunt Betsy. Aunt Betsy left the Chestnut Street dock at 2 p.m. for an undisclosed spot. This was one of the illegal ones, right? Told the people to get on board, and then they left for an undisclosed spot to have the fight. And they landed about 3 miles below the city limits on the west bank of the river, right? Landed on the west bank about 3 miles away. Ended about 3 miles below the city limits on the west bank. And the crowd walked about a mile through the woods, only to find it was the wrong place. The group then hiked back to the boat. 2 or 3 fell into the river while reboarding the boat. They walked about 3 miles to the wrong place in the woods. Then they walked back to the boat. 2 or 3 of them fell in the water trying to get on the boat, right? Wow. The crowd proceeded about a mile further, finally reaching the arena where they was going to have a fight at about 5 p.m. Now, Cardiff was an especially aggressive fighter. He threw Wilson repeatedly to the ground. That was legal back then, right? And won by a knockout in the 9th round. Yeah, you could throw fighters on the ground. I think you could bite too, yeah. And the Pioneer Press commented that it was the best fight seen in this vicinity. Now, Cardiff, he took up the visual collection. He took up the usual collection for the loser. Because the winner was the only one that got paid. They were always at the $500 that was up, that went to the winner. And Cardiff took up the winner. He took up a collection for the loser on the way back, and he got up $35 for the loser. Yeah, that was better than nothing. And both fighters left the steamer in a skiff before the steamer docked because they thought the police was going to be waiting on them when they got back. So they got off in a little boat before the steamer got all the way back to the dock. However, when they learned that the police were waiting for them, they got off. They learned the police was waiting before the boat got back. Somebody got word of it, and they got off on a little boat before it reached the dock. But as time went by, boxing gained increasing popularity. It started getting more popular. Yeah. It gained increasing popularity. I don't know which way this thing went now. Time went by, boxing gained increasing popularity. Bear with me for a minute. Okay, yeah. As time went by, boxing gained increasing respectability. Pat Conley, manager of the Olympic Theater at 7th and Jackson Street, inaugurated boxing fights as a regular weekly feature late in 1885. And since there seemed to be no protests, fights were soon being held openly. In 1884, a roller skating facility, the Exposition Rink, was constructed on 4th Street near St. Peter, present site of the Lowry Building. After the skating mania subsided, the rink was frequently used for fights. Yeah, they go there and skate, and then they'd have fights afterwards, right? One such fight occurred on December 2nd, 1886. It was a 10-round fight between Billy Wilson and McHenry Johnson, and was advertised as for the Colored Championship of America. Wow. Several first-class fighters developed locally too. Pat Killen, a talented heavyweight, he met some of the day's best fighters, including Joe McAuliffe, a boxer with a national reputation. Told you these words were small. He had a national reputation, right? In the middleweight division, local fighters like Dick Moore, Tommy Hogan, Danny Needham, Charlie Kemick, and Charlie Gleason all saw plenty of action, right? Lighter weight divisions they also had important fights, such as Jimmy Griffin, Charlie Johnson, Dick Ward, Tommy Dixon, and Oscar Johnson, right? Some of these fights were torturous, right? Protracted affairs. Danny Needham lost to Tom Ryan of Chicago in a 76-round fight in Minneapolis. Both were using 2-ounce gloves. Wow, 2 ounces. In another fight near Fort Snelling, where skin-tight gloves were used, that's basically bare knuckles, Charlie Gleason gave young Jack Dempsey of California, a frightful beating. That wasn't the Jack Dempsey. That wasn't the Jack Dempsey. That was Jack Dempsey of California. That was before the big time Jack Dempsey. Okay, we're gonna wind this down. Now, on the Sunday before the fight, public opposition crystallized in a large mass meeting at Market Hall. Archbishop John Ireland was the main anti-boxing speaker. And during the meeting, D.R. Noyes, a prominent businessman, asked Mayor Robert A. Smith to stop the fight. And the mayor replied, "If we let these ministers and some of these religious people have their way, we might as well fence up the city. They are even sending me protests against the Jockey Club races." So the mayor said no. The mayor must have been a boxing fan. And the morning paper for July 22nd carried this headline: "They will fight," in big bold letters, right? But at about 11 a.m. that morning, 4 companies of the Minnesota National Guard, acting on orders from Governor William R. Merriam, marched into the amphitheater where the fight was going to be held, and the event was over before it began. So the governor overrode the mayor and stopped it, right? And the promoters announced that ticket holders would be refunded, and $17,000 was returned that same day, right? Yeah, the governor overrode the mayor on the fight. So it was called off. Okay, interesting, but let's move on to boxers in the States, because I got these 10 pay-per-view fights I want to get to. Okay, Mike Rim in the building. What's up, Mike Rim? How are you today, Mike? Good to see you. Plus, I'm getting ready to go blind. That was pretty interesting. Yeah. But still, after the governor shut them down, they still held secret fights, right? Frequently, according to newspaper reports, mostly in Anoka County, right? And Anoka paper vehemently denied they were having the fights, but it said many of the fights allegedly held in Anoka County actually were held in a building a block from the Minneapolis police station. Hey, that's a good thing to do. Hell, hold them right up under their nose. They run around looking for them, and you're in the building next door to them. They was in the building a block away from the police station having the fight, right? And some professional fights were not so secret, though. On March 31st, 1894, a fight to be held on South St. Paul City Hall. Wow. This fight was going to be held in the City Hall. It was just about underway, right? And guess who was there? I told you, the mayor was at the fight. The mayor was there, but the governor was against boxing. And the fight was just about ready to start when a deputy sheriff, who just happened to be an ex-mayor of the city, walked in, stopped the fight, and threatened to arrest everybody in there, even the mayor, right? Now, great lengths were gone to circumvent the laws. A fight was arranged between Danny Needham and Dick Moore. Okay? They kept trying. This fight was set for October 13th, 1895. And it was to be held on a barge in the middle of the river, right? That was a way to get around them. But somebody was snitching, because the police was always, if the fight went on, the police was always there to stop it when it ended, right? Now, the steamer was called the Gracie Moore, right? And there was 2 of them, Gracie Moore and the Daisy. They were to power the barge out of the reach of the authorities, right? And about 1,000 people were waiting at the dock when the barge moved into to pick them up. And some of them, however, turned out to be deputy sheriffs. Told you somebody was snitching, who immediately arrested the captain of the barge, captain of both boats, and Danny Needham, one of the fighters as well. The other fighter, Dick Moore, managed to escape, right? But they got one of them. Dick Moore got away. And the arrest had been ordered by, I guess who? The governor. They had a new governor, but he was against boxing himself, but he arranged the arrest. Now, the mayor was a boxing fan. He tried to have a card in City Hall, and he was there. That's when the sheriff walked in and stopped that, right? Now, each of the captains of the boats that were arrested, they filed suit against the governor, right, for $25,000 for false arrest. And a few months later, the suits were quietly dropped. He probably paid them off, right? And then a little while after that, boxing went into an eclipse locally. Also, there was still some secret fights, right? They generally were between beginners who worked for very small purses. And occasionally, however, there might be an excursion into a steamer. Took like 500 fans to a small clearing on the Wisconsin River where they would fight at. On the Wisconsin side of the river, right? They would go over there and fight. And with the sport's decline, there appeared to have been a commemorate slacking off of official prosecutions of boxing. But the police seemed not at all interested. For boxing matches were staged in halls and gymnasiums, right in the heart of the loop, without the police interfering. But yeah, boxing fell off a little while after that in Minneapolis because the authorities was set against it. The mayor was a boxing fan, but the governor was not. So, and it was almost at the end. So they I guess the people got tired of being arrested and stuff. But kind of interesting. But let's move on to what's next. Talk about some boxers from Minnesota because I want to get these pay-per-view fights, and that's very interesting. Okay, let's talk about these some boxers from Minnesota first. Okay, got a few of them. David Morrell. Well, he's from Cuba, but he made his home in Minnesota. Yeah. David Morrell, a few others. Like Bruce Gass said, Scott Liddell, Dwayne Barbic. Yeah, let's talk about some of them real quick. These pay-per-view fights are pretty interesting. We're gonna look at those. Okay. First is the Flanagan brothers. Yeah, I was right there where I wanted to be at. That's one of the Flanagan brothers. Okay. Now, Glenn and Del Flanagan. Oh, these words are nice and big. Glenn and Del Flanagan were the most successful local professional boxers of their time, right? Glenn began his professional career in 1946. Del in 1947. Okay, that's Del. And by 1948, both were often fighting in main events. Del won his first 52 fights. Glenn retired in 1956 with a record of 80 wins, 23 losses, and 12 draws. That's a lot of draws. Del, who began as a lightweight, moved up to welterweight and had a fine career. He stayed on Del. In 1950, Del rose to 7th ranking worldwide at lightweight, right? Made it into the top 10 in 1955. And he missed the title fight, welterweight, because I saw Carmen Basilio. Carmen Basilio wasn't that lightweight, yeah. Glenn rose to the number 7 position worldwide at welterweight. And in 1955, he missed the title fight with Carmen Basilio because of a disorderly conduct conviction. In 1958, he beat welterweight champion Virgil Atkins in a non-title fight and would have had a chance at the title had Atkins not lost it to Joey Giardello. Those were some big names around that time too. Virgil Atkins, Carmen Basilio, Joey Giardello, yeah. But Dell still fought often, but with less and less success. He retired in 1964 with a record of 104 wins, 22 losses, and 2 draws. The Flanagan brothers, Dell and Glenn and Dell. Glenn was the oldest. Okay, it's a couple other boxers. We're going to get into these pay-per-view fights. Okay, hope everybody is doing the show today. Sorry about that. The writing was just so small, man. But we got a little bit of it in. Okay. Now the first boxer from Minnesota is Tommy Gibbons. Tommy Gibbons. Okay. Let's talk. Let's Tommy Gibbons from Minnesota. Oh my. It's Tommy from Minnesota. Bear with me for a second. I didn't get the commercial in for the raffle yet. You know me and technology. But yeah, Tommy Gibbons. He's first. Yeah, that's Tommy on the screen there, please. Tommy is from St. Paul, Minnesota. This is a little short one. Tommy was a former professional heavyweight, right? He had a total, he won 96 fights, only lost 5, right? Won 96 out of 101. He had 4 draws, 48 knockouts. Tommy Gibbons from St. Paul, Minnesota. Okay. Next up is Jackie Graves. Jackie Graves. Oh, Terry is out there. I didn't know she was here already. Damn. I hear her. Oh, damn. I can't say what I get ready to say because they can hear. I was going to say her and my wife both talk loud. Jackie Graves from Minnesota, alias the Austin Atom. Okay, Jackie Graves. Oh, didn't have much on Jackie. Scott Liddell. I know that now. This is the big one here. Scott Liddell. There he is fighting Larry Holmes, right? Scott Liddell. Okay. He was a politician and a professional heavyweight boxer, Scott Liddell, and a referee. Call him the Fighting Frenchman. He's from Crosby, Ironton, Minnesota. Scott had a total of 50 fights. Is this Scott Liddell? Yeah. Scott won 33 of his fights. He lost 13. He had 4 draws, and he had 33 knockouts. Scott Liddell. Dwayne Barbic. There's Dwayne Barbic. Okay, let's talk about Dwayne briefly. I'm going to get into these pay-per-view fights in about 10 minutes. Dwayne Barbic. He's one of the bigger names to come out of Minnesota. Beat Teofimo Stevenson in the amateurs. Lost to him in the Olympics. I think he beat him in the Pan Am Games. And one of those big tournaments, he beat Teofimo. Yeah, he sure did. But he lost to him in the Olympics. Teofimo's first Olympic gold. Dwayne lost to him in that Olympics. I don't think it was a gold medal match. But Dwayne Barbic, former boxer. As an amateur, he won the gold medal. Yeah, he beat Teofimo in the Pan American Games. Yep. I should just read this first before I start talking. Yeah. Barbic won the gold medal at the 1971 Pan American Games. Pan American always the year before the Olympics. And fought at the 1972 Olympics. He then turned professional in 1973 and retired in 1979 with a record of 48 wins, 42 by knockout, and 4 losses. All his losses, he got knocked out. But wow, 43 wins, 42 by knockouts. Man, that ain't bad at all, man. That is a 98% knockout rate, man. 98% knockout rate for Duane Bobick, okay? Not bad at all. And Duane, he was from Little Falls, Minnesota, right? And yeah, I don't see no nickname or anything for him, but yeah, that's not bad. 43 wins, 42 by knockout. He lost 4. All 4 of them was by knockout. Okay. Mel Hammond. I'm going to go over with David Morrell. Then we're going to talk about these pay-per-view fights. Okay. There's Mel Hammond. Mel boxes from Minnesota. Mel Hammond. Everything worked out so good when I'm getting ready for the show. But once the show's Murphy's Law, nothing works out right. Let's spell his name right. Mel Hammond. Yeah. Boxing. Not Mel Hammond, the golfer. Okay, forget you, Mel Hammond. Fred Fulton. How about Fred Fulton? Boxers from Minnesota. Fred Fulton. We're almost to David Morrell. Then we're going to move on to the pay-per-view fights. That's pretty interesting. Fred Fulton. He's from he's called himself the Minnesota Plasterer. Wow. From Park Rapids, Minnesota. Okay. Fred Fulton. Soumya Anani, female fighter. There's Soumya Anani. Okay. Now Soumya, professional female boxer, nicknamed the Island Girl, right? She was 5'6", and she boxed as a junior welterweight. She's best known for a 1996 fight, which left her opponent severely injured, right? Soumya did. He's from Minnesota. And Soumya had a total of 29 fights. She won 25, lost 3, 1 draw, 10 by knockout. Okay. David Morrell. I know y'all heard of him. There's David Morrell. Okay. Quarter after we go into the pay-per-views. Top 10 pay-per-views of all time. Remo was telling me about this being a good idea the other day, and I agreed that it would be a good idea, you know, for a show. Yeah, David Morrell. Now he's from Cuba, but he boxes out of Minnesota. Okay. David is still actively boxing, right? And still active boxing. And David has a total of 11 fights right now. He's 11-0, has 9 knockouts. Okay, that ain't too bad. Not real high because he don't have a lot of fights. The knockout rate of 81%, 81.8, 82%. And David fights at super middleweight, but fighting at light heavyweight his last fight. His last fight was in August against Radovoj Kalajic, right? Was a 12-round decision. Next fight not scheduled yet. David Morrell from Minnesota. From Cuba, but he fights out of Minnesota. Defected to Cuba. And we got this guy, Jamal James, right? From Minnesota. Jamal James. Let's see. 1, 2. Gotta find Jamal James. There's Jamal James. He's from Minnesota. I think Jamal still active? Jamal James? Oh, but not leave because that pay-per-view gonna be good, I think. Yeah, Jamal, I believe he's still actively fighting. Let's see. Boxers for Minnesota. Can't cover all of them because, there's plenty of them. But Jamal, his record, he's had 30 fights, 128, lost 2, 12 knockouts. Jamal is at welterweight, last I heard. Now, his last fight was February 25th last year against Alberto Ignacio Palmetta, right? And he won a 10-round unanimous decision. Jamal did. Okay. Now let's talk about these pay-per-views. Top 10 pay-per-views of all time. Okay. Top 10 pay-per-views of all time. Anybody come in? No. Okay. Top 10 pay-per-views of all time. Like I said, Floyd or Mike Tyson is in 9 of the 10. The only one they're not in is number 6, which was Gervonta Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia. And the only one Canelo is in is when he fought Floyd. Okay. The only one Canelo is in is when he fought Floyd, and that was because of Floyd. So Gervonta Tank Davis is the face of boxing. Canelo ain't nowhere in the top 10 unless he fought Floyd. Okay. As for Gervonta Tank Davis is the face of boxing. Okay. And I ain't going back and forth with you. None of it. Okay, let's go. Top 10 pay-per-view events in boxing history. Let me get up here to these beautiful pictures I got of these fighters as they match up with each other. Is that the first one? No, that ain't it. Yeah, I believe that's it. Let me see. It'd be Mike Tyson and Roy Jones. Is that Mike Tyson and Roy Jones? I believe so. Yeah. Now let's see. Top 10 pay-per-views of all time. Now, Floyd Mayweather's showdown with Manny Pacquiao remains the biggest selling boxing pay-per-view event in the history of boxing. Now, MMA star Conor McGregor's showdown with Mayweather in 2017 takes the number 2 spot. And one of the most memorable boxing fights ever between Evander Holyfield and Mike Tyson 2 also lands in the top 10. Right? Now, boxing has produced some of the biggest stars in the history of sports and encouraged the birth of the pay-per-view system, which has helped fighters earn huge record-breaking purses over the years. Now, some huge names have attracted massive audiences, including Mike Tyson, Manny Pacquiao, and boxing legend Floyd Mayweather Jr., who dominated the market for years. These names have headlined some of the biggest events in both combat sports and sports history generally, and helped boxing move from a niche into the mainstream, capturing the eyes of many around the globe. Now, although the pay-per-view market is under threat due to the use of illegal streaming, it still plays an extremely important part in generating revenue to pay the fighters. Now, that said, despite the aforementioned names making it into the top 10, former boxing superstar Oscar De La Hoya believes Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia should have been one of the biggest pay-per-view fights in the history, but it wasn't of the sport, right? But it wasn't. Yeah, Oscar thought Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia was going to be so big. But let's talk about these fights, okay? I shouldn't even have read that nonsense. They're talking about Oscar, the 5-on-5 with Eddie Hearns. Does Oscar have 5 fighters? Does he have enough to do a 5-on-5? It had to be a 3-on-3. Number 10, Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones. Top 10 pay-per-view fights of all time. Okay. Pay-per-view buys. 1.6 million. Revenue generated $80.5 million. Okay. Heavyweight legend Iron Mike Tyson clashed with Jones Jr. in a modern-day money-making masterpiece in the modern era, beginning of exhibitions. See, this wasn't even a real fight, an exhibition, man. Number 10 on the list. And they met several years after they had retired. And the clash was broadcast on new streaming service, Triller, via their platform at a one-off fee, and also featured a whole host of influencers, including the boxing debut of YouTube star Jake Paul. Yep, that was Jake's first fight on that one, remember? And Jake Paul, that was the time when he knocked out Nate Robinson, the basketball player, remember? Brutal knockout. Yep. And the event also attracted a range of buyers by using music performances, including from rappers Snoop Dogg and Wiz Khalifa. You remember that? Yeah, that's number 10. And the spectacle was great to see, despite there being no result declared, with the majority suggesting Tyson did enough to win the fight against his fellow boxing legend, Roy Jones. But it is clear the pair had taken it serious from the incredible training footage, and it has invited other iconic figures in the sport to follow the same path, including Mayweather, who is currently competing on a similar circuit. Yeah, that's when Floyd started his exhibitions, remember? Next one is Floyd and Miguel Cotto is number 9. Floyd Mayweather Jr., Miguel Cotto, number 9. Number 9, selling pay-per-view of all time, right? Pay-per-view buys, 1.5 million. Revenue generated $94 million. Okay, $94 million. Now, a regular feature on this pay-per-view list will be Floyd Mayweather. His first appearance on the list comes as he took on Puerto Rican star Miguel Cotto in a 2012 showdown for the unified super welterweight world titles. It was the latest of Money Mayweather's headline acts at the iconic MGM Grand in Las Vegas, where revenue was at its premium and saw some of the richest fighters in history clamor to compete on the card, right? And of course, the undefeated champion did exactly that with an event packed to the rafters to see him share a chess match with Cotto, who put up a brave display, but was ultimately unable to derail the dominance of the American Mayweather, right? Mayweather cruised to a unanimous decision win on the judges' scorecards with an incredible amount of stamina and durability on display during the fight. Coming in at number, I told you, 9 of the 10 is either Florida Mike Tyson, 9 of the 10 top pay-per-views. The only one Florida Mike wasn't in was the current face of boxing, Gervonta Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia. Coming in at number 8, Mike Tyson and Peter McNeely, right? And you know, this was Mike's first fight out of prison. That's what made it so interesting for people to see. And they wanted this to be Big George Foreman. So just imagine Mike and Peter McNeely, number 8 off in the top 10 pay-per-views all time. Imagine how much Mike and Big George would have done. Would have been top 5, because pay-per-view buys was 1.5 million, generated $96 million in revenue. You know, the list goes by the amount of pay-per-view buys, not the revenue. But $96 million, man. Mike Tyson and Peter McNeely, but it was his first fight out of prison. That was the entry. D-Free, hashtag TWT, DC. What's up, D-Free? Another member of the winning team in the building, okay? Yeah, we're talking about the top 10 pay-per-views, D-Free. We are at number 8, Mike Tyson and Peter McNeely. And it was supposed to be Big George, right? And I was just saying, if Mike and Peter McNeely was number 8 all time, imagine if it would have been Big George. That's top 5. But Mike and Peter McNeely didn't do bad. 1.5 million pay-per-view buys generated $96 million in revenue, right? Now, this was a huge event with of interest in 1995. This was the return of heavyweight icon Mike Tyson after a 4-year hiatus following his arrest in 1991 and subsequent prison sentence, right? Where he was surprisingly able to train very hard, right? While he was in there. Now, the event was billed. He's back, and saw him take on French fighter Peter McNeely, despite having held talks over a potential mammoth show against Big George Foreman, for his comeback outing. But, like I told you before, Cus D'Amato told Mike years ago, don't fight George, because the same thing happened to Joe Frazier was going to happen to him, right? And Mike religiously followed Cus's advice, and Cus had passed years ago, but Mike still followed that advice and did not get in there with Big George. Because I believe Cus, Big George, even in his second career, probably would have got Mike. But anyway, it was a significant night, which Tyson delivered exactly how he always did, with the contest lasting just 85 seconds, right? As he produced a typically sensational highlight reel knockout. 85 seconds, right? 1 minute and 25 seconds into the first round. The ex-champ landed a booming uppercut before his rival's manager entered the ring to stop any more damage being inflicted, as he proved he was ready to mix it up big, right? So, and with this performance, Mike proved he was ready to mix it up with the other big players in the division again after his absence. And again, this is one of his many features on this list, giving the huge gates of revenue Mike was able to attract. Yeah, I told you, 9 of the top 10 pay-per-views of all time was either Floyd or Mike Tyson. Only one that wasn't was Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia. I believe it was number 6, but we'll get to it. Yeah, Floyd or Mike Tyson. Floyd was 4 out of the first 5, top 5. The next one coming in at number 7 was Evander Holyfield versus Mike Tyson 2, the bite fight. And people had bought the thing before the bite, so yeah. But the bite fight, man, yeah, number 7. Evander Holyfield and Mike Tyson 2, right? Now, this is one of the most memorable events in boxing history. So it barely needs a recap, but it is quite clear from the huge buy rate and revenue quite how big this fight was. Tyson and Holyfield were meeting for the second time at the iconic MGM Grand Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada, as Tyson was looking to avenge his defeat. But things took a dark turn in one of the most bizarre fights in the sport's history. We talked about this yesterday, remember? What later became known as the bite fight. Tyson was disqualified for biting off a part of Holyfield's ear in frustration, and it sent shockwaves through the world, with his boxing license being revoked. Yeah, he didn't just bite it, he bit a piece off. He was standing there chewing. Now, he later regained his license, but he had generated one of the most incredible moments in boxing history for the wrong reason, right? For the wrong reason. This was an incredible, and Tyson, in an incredible public interview, Holyfield forgave him. Yeah. And remarkably, the bite and injury is now a profitable business for the fighters, who have since launched an air bite edible, while Tyson has also set out terms, if the pair are able to do battle again. Yeah, but I think that's past. That's past the sell-by date. We won't see them. Yeah, number 6, Gervonta Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia. This is the only fight of the top 10 pay-per-views of all time that's not involving either Floyd Mayweather or Mike Tyson. Yeah, this one here. Gervonta Davis versus Ryan Garcia. Now, this one sold 1.2 million pay-per-view buys and generated $102.4 million in revenue. Mm-hmm. Remember that? 1.2. Yeah. Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis. Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia. Now, this is the most recent fight on this list, right? And it proved to be a huge success at the box office market, right? Lightweight rivals Ryan Garcia and Gervonta Davis was at a catchweight, right? They settled their bitter rivalry in what resembled a meeting between two of the four kings, right? In the lightweight division at the time. In the modern generation, right? Remember they was talking that Evan, Ryan, Tank, and Teofimo, TVO, a BVO. Yeah, TVO. Yeah, TVO Lopez. It was it was the stakes for both men. It was huge stakes for both men, right? For their reputations and profiles, with Garcia famous through social media, while Davis was considered to be Mayweather's protege, right, at that time. Remember? Now, although not recording quite the volume of bias given the modern century conundrum, the event was a huge success and generated a record-breaking gain in revenue, like not seen since the days, of the past, or comparison with some of the UFC's biggest ever grossing event. Yep. And in the fight, Davis won in with a bombing knockout after Garcia made a business decision and decided to take that knee. And Tank has cemented his name as the fastest rising star in the sport of boxing right now. Okay. Number 5, Lennox Lewis versus Mike Tyson. Back to Florida Mike. Okay. Lennox Lewis versus Mike Tyson. There they are. Now this one sold 1.9 million and generated $112 million in pay-per-view. Wow. Wait a minute now. How's that behind Tank and Ryan? Tank and Ryan. Oh, come on. Wait a minute. I'm just checking out something. Oh, let me move on because I done messed up and lost my article, man. Always follow the script, Cass. Forget that. Check it out after the show. Bear with me for a minute. I was looking at something, but okay, bear with me for 1 minute, please. Here we go. Where were we? Number 5, right? Lennox Lewis and Mike Tyson. Yeah. Number 5. Lennox Lewis and Mike Tyson. Man. What in the world is going on? Here we go. Lennox Lewis and Mike Tyson comes in at number 5. Okay. Top 10 pay-per-views of all time. Here we go. This is what I was looking for. Tank Davis and Ryan. I thought they were going by pay-per-view buys. Tank Davis and Ryan was 1.2. Oh, they going by the money. The money generated. Yeah. Okay. I'm back. Yeah, Lennox Lewis and Mike Tyson had 1.9 pay-per-view buys, but $112 million in revenue. Yeah, the list is by the amount of revenue. Now, a huge battle between two of the biggest heavyweights in the division ever, right, to have existed. Saw Tyson up against British star Lennox Lewis, which was held in Tennessee after a pre-fight brawl prevented the event from being staged in Las Vegas. Remember that? In one of the wildest press conference moments in boxing history. Yeah, that was wild. Now, the blockbuster event was a huge hit with the box offices and a huge turnout, packed the Pyramid Arena in Tennessee. But it was Tyson who failed to live up to his rival's pressure and was sent crumbling to the canvas twice, during a convincing win for Lennox Lewis, right? It helped Lewis seal a brilliant end to his glistening career, retiring one fight later after beating Vitaly Klitschko, while being remembered for such a historic and successful event. Yep. Lennox retired one fight after that. Now, yeah, the next four is all Floyd. Told you 4 of the top 5 was Floyd. The top 4, Floyd was in them. Coming in at number 4 was Floyd and Oscar. Floyd and Oscar, number 4. Top pay-per-view of all time. What's up, Thomas Hill? The legendary Thomas Hill, hashtag JBT, is now entered the building. What's up, T Hill? How you doing today? We did boxing in the States, Minnesota. It was a short one, so the backup plan was the top 10 pay-per-views of all time. A Remo idea. He had texted it to me like last week. And I said, yeah, that's a good one. So here we are. Number 4. Now, T Hill, 9 and 10 was either Floyd or Mike Tyson. The only one that wasn't in the top, that wasn't them in the top 10 was Tank and Ryan Garcia. 4 of the top 5 was Floyd, and Floyd was all the top 4. Number 4 was Floyd and Oscar. 2.4 million pay-per-view buy, right? First one over 2, and $136 million. Now they listed them by the amount of revenue, right? This was 136 million. Okay. Now, here's another appearance for money on the list. And this is one of the biggest fights of his career, as he took on fellow American Oscar De La Hoya, who's considered a fellow great at the time, and Floyd gave up all kind of concessions in this fight because he was trying to take over Oscar's spot as the face. So he said that Oscar picked everything, that's how you do it. Floyd was trying to get his name out there, and he said, well, I'll let you pick everything, but after this fight, I'm going to be the man, right? Some of these youngsters need to learn from that, right? And after that fight, he was the man for the rest of his career. Now, at the point of this fight, it became the most lucrative boxing event to have ever been staged, okay? Bringing in a mega $136 million as a result of the expensive Las Vegas gate and pay-per-view purchases in a real landmark for the sport of boxing. On the night, it was a close and competitive showdown, with Floyd managing to edge the win on the judges' scorecards by split decision. The undefeated 50-0 star and Oscar always spoke about another lucrative meeting, which was scheduled, but Floyd's retirement prevented it from happening in 2008. But he did come back. Now, since he has always ruled out lacing back up his gloves to settle their rivalry, with his manager having shut down the talks immediately. So we never got that. Number 3 was Floyd and Canelo. Floyd and Canelo, number 3. Okay. Floyd Canelo. There you go. Floyd Mayweather versus Canelo Alvarez. 2.2 million buys, $150 million in revenue, Floyd and Canelo, okay? Now, another huge battle in Floyd's career came against Mexican hero Canelo Alvarez, who is currently the face of boxing of the sport, okay? Right? And a pound-for-pound star in the present day. It's 2 faces of boxing, Canelo and Tank. Canelo is the outgoing face and Tank is the face. Okay? Now, where was it? Now, this fight represented a real tactical battle between 2 technically gifted boxers from different countries, and a hugely significant event which headlined the U.S. box office market, generating huge revenue. Now, things unfolded in the ring as predicted by many, with Mayweather adopting the master role against Canelo, who took up the apprentice duty. And the American dominated from start to finish. Okay? With a video emerging of exactly how hard it was for him to land a punch that night. Floyd, with a video emerging how hard it was for Canelo to land a punch that night, right? And Floyd took the unanimous decision. But it wasn't to be a big blow for his rival, whose stock rose for accepting the challenge in the first place, right? And after that fight, Canelo went on to stardom. That's what I say. A lot of these young fighters need to learn from that, man. You got to get in there go up and take that big fight, man. Even if the money ain't right, because it will come. You got to get your name out there. They don't do that anymore, though. Floyd started that, but now everybody worrying about that O, trying to market that O, but nobody gonna market that O like Floyd did, because many of these people can't see him lose, just came to see him win. As long as he kept that O, he was good. Now we're down to the last two. At number 2 is Floyd and Conor McGregor. I always thought this was one, but the other one beat him out. Yeah. Number 2, Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor. Now this was an intriguing but incredible entry to these rankings, right? So the first of a kind crossover fight between MMA and boxing as UFC superstar Conor McGregor entered the squared circle to take on Floyd in the final professional fight of Floyd's career. It was a huge event which saw McGregor produce some iconic one-liners in a press tour, which will go down in the memory of sports fans forever. Yeah, they really sold that thing, man. Never been a press tour like that before or since. Yeah, it was all over the world, remember? Now, despite the Irishman's destruction of Floyd in the verbal spars, Floyd was able to weather an early 3-minute storm to control the fight and produce a scintillating stoppage and a 30-second spell of brilliance in the 10th round. Now, irrespective of the result, both fighters made huge purses in excess of $100 million, and the event became the second highest selling and saw the pair become 2 of the highest paid boxers per punch in history. And now number 1 was, y'all know number 1. Y'all know who number 1 was. Stop playing. Floyd and Manny. Y'all already knew. Floyd and Manny was number 1. 4.6 million pay-per-view buys. Yeah, you heard right. 4.6 million. Revenue, $410 million. $410 million. Yeah, that's number 1. For some reason, I was thinking that Conor McGregor was fat, but no, Floyd and Conor. It was Floyd and Manny, yeah. It's going to be hard to pass that, man. 4.6 buys and $410 million. But we had been waiting for that fight for years, though, remember? Everybody wanted that fight like 2008, 2009. We wanted Floyd, Manny, and Pretty Boy. The way Manny was going through those early 2000s. But I believe Floyd wins either one of them. Pretty Boy Floyd or Money Mayweather. I think Floyd beats him. Pretty Boy probably would beat him worse. Because Pretty Boy was more offensive, right? Pretty Boy probably beats him worse. Pretty Boy ain't gonna, Pretty Boy gonna go at it, I don't think he would have stopped him because Manny was going strong then, but it would have been a wide unanimous decision. Yeah, something like 8-4, something like that, yeah. But yeah, Floyd and Manny is number 1. Top 10 pay-per-views of all time. Now, the biggest commercial fight in boxing history once again involved Floyd and his bitter rival, Manny Pacquiao, who finally settled their boxing rivalry after years of promise to finally meet in the ring. And anticipation was like no other, with the fight held in the United States, but followed in huge numbers by the Challenger supporters in the Philippines, with the whole country behind him. Yeah, Manny had a country, man. You talking about a country. They talk about fighters got countries. Manny had a country behind him. Plus, he was a senator in the country, remember? He was a senator, yeah. Now, overall, the event generated huge gate fees with expensive ticket prices, snapped up in seconds, while pay-per-view numbers were monstrous, even before the event took place. But it did end up being a relatively dull affair. Yeah. The build-up was historic, but the fight was a dud. Relatively dull affair. With Mayweather having the final say in the ring, moving to a unanimous decision win in emphatic fashion, with a frustrating performance to limit Pac-Man. Now, a rematch has always been talked about, given the size of the event, but it never happened, right? They talked about it like last year. Who wants to see him now? They didn't give it to us when we wanted 08, 09. Now they both down there 50 talking about fighting. Get out of here. Donnie Williams, what's happening? That's it. What's up, Donnie Williams? What time is it, man? Yeah. I'm going to drop the link in because we got 15, 20 minutes. But yeah, boxing in the States, Minnesota, and the top 10 pay-per-views of all time. All times. Okay. Hope everybody enjoyed that. Tomorrow is the profile Friday. The life and career of Max Schmeling, German fighter. Had those 2 fights with Joe Louis, that iconic one. And the second one, remember? Joe Louis got called to the White House by the president. President Franklin Roosevelt said, I'm not trying to put no pressure on you, but the entire free world is riding on you winning this fight. Right? And Joe had already said, because after he lost to Max Schmeling, remember Joe won the title from, was it James J. Jeffries? But he won the title in between the 2 fights. And he said, I can't call myself champion until I beat Max Schmeling. So he didn't play with his food when he went in the first round knockout. Yeah. He got Max up out of there in the first round. And like I told you, they became best of friends. People hated Max because he was German and they associated him with the Nazis. But Max was not. Max didn't support the Nazis. He never joined the Nazi party. He was forced into the army after he got beat by Joe when he got back to Germany. Yeah. Hitler and his boys made him go in the military. But yeah, Max weathered the storm. Had a good long life. And tomorrow, after the profile, we're going to go over some other German boxers, right? Tomorrow. So yeah, that's going to be a good one. Max Schmeling is the profile tomorrow. Great German fighter, heavyweight, legendary, in the International Boxing Hall of Fame. He belongs in there. Yeah, Max beat some big names back then. Yeah. Sure did. Back in those days. Him and Joe fought both times, 36 and 38, I think. Yeah. They had 2 fights. Joe became an American hero after that, man. Everybody loved him. And they took pains to make Joe not like. Joe was a quiet person anyway, with a quiet person. And they took pains to make sure he didn't be all like Jack, because Jack Johnson was just so outrageous, man. And he taunted the people and everything. They didn't want a black heavyweight champion, and he just taunted everybody, man. And they made sure Joe wasn't like that, And Joe was a quiet, reserved person anyway. The Brown Bomber, the greatest of all time, too. Not Muhammad Ali, Joe Louis. Just to get a chance, look at those 26 straight fights and look what he was doing during those fights, man. Remember I told you only 3 people went the distance with him in 12 years. Okay, 12 years, only 3 people went the distance with this man in fights. 15 of them was knocked out in the first round, right? No, first 5 rounds, 6 in the first round, while fighting 5, 6, 7 times a year back then, man. So yeah, the Brown Bomber, greatest of all time. Yeah, we got Just Do Boxing at 4 p.m. today. The Voice, bring you that unbiased fire boxing talk. 4 p.m. Then we got DVO Boxing TV at 8 with the gang. We'll have D Free, Prize Fighter, Crush the Legend. The more fire boxing talk. They'll be on at 8 p.m. tonight. And then 9 o'clock is the Mighty Rise podcast. Closing it down, right? Senior and Coach Squeeze. I see Calvin Ford and Kenny Ellis. I told y'all one day the face of boxing gonna be in there. Gervonta Tank Davis. Watch. But I really appreciate everybody rocking with me today. We got one day in this big week of boxing history. Oh, it's a fight tonight too. ESPN Plus. Yeah. I think it's from Puerto Rico, right? Yeah, it's a fight tonight. And then the Davis brothers is Friday night. Keyshawn. Oh man. Calvin, right? Yeah, and the youngest brother, Keon. But I think that's amazing, man. Keon is making his debut. It's gotta be a big boost. Both of his two big brothers on the card, man. So that's just great, man. The nerves and everything, making your professional debut. And both of your two big brothers fighting on the card, man. So yeah, it has to make it easier for them. I'm not saying the fight going to be easier, but help with the nerves and butterflies of your first time getting in that ring professionally. Yeah, going to be right there with you. Your two big brothers. And Keyshawn, Pernoff, Sweet Pea Whitaker was his idol. And Sweet Pea headlined the Scope with his fight, going to be down there in Norfolk many times. So Keyshawn following right in his idol's footsteps, headlining the Scope, where Sweet Pea headlined many times. I think about 9. Remember we did his profile a couple weeks ago? I think it was 9. Many times he headlined that venue. So Keyshawn following right in his idol's footsteps, man. Both from Virginia. So yeah, that's Friday night. And remember one tonight, ESPN Plus, the Bob Father, 2 Bob Father joints. And then Saturday, we got Boots and Kern. Please, I hope Boots to learn how to cut the ring off. Nobody wants to see that again. But like I told you, Kern, I've seen Kern in fights. Kern has mixed it up before. He don't always do that. So maybe he'll stand there and fight Boots this time. But Boots he should watch some Artur Beterbiev and Virgil Ortiz. Because they both were excellent at cutting the ring off. Or like I said, watch that Marvin Hagler, Tommy Hearns 3 rounds. Because all the people keep saying Hearns should have boxed, but he tried. But Hagler made it a brawl. Cut that ring off. You got to block where your opponent is trying to go. Boots was always a step behind following. You got to get in there and block where you're trying to go. Keep edging him toward them ropes, corner him, man. But I know Boots done worked on it. That's Saturday. We got a Riyadh season this weekend too. Remember? Yeah, I think it's Sunday. Zerto Ramirez and Chris Williams-Smith Sunday. What's up, T-Hill? Right?
Hear me?
Yeah, Zerto Sunday. The 17th. What's today? 7th, 8th, 9th. Yeah, it's this weekend. Right, T-Hill? Another Riyadh season. I'm trying to get this out of the way. Did you get up? What happened? Thomas Hill dropped off. Maybe he got a call or something. He's back. I thought I added him.
Oh, you did.
This picture off. See what's going on. I got to get this picture off here so I can see what's going on, man. That's the last of the slide. There it is right there. Get out the way. There we go. What's up, T-Hill? How you doing today?
You tell me.
Well, I don't know. Just some more boxing talk. That's all. Thursday afternoon with the family. The family.
The family. Hell of a lot. So what you think about that weigh-in, man? My man coming in like 6 pounds over.
I didn't see it. Which one was that
Yeah,
for?
I was told that Limo, I was told that Limos came in 6 pounds over.
Limo. Really?
That's what I was told.
Man, Limos.
So the fight is still on, but it's not for anything.
Yeah, it's not for, Man. But Keyshawn's still taking it, right? Because he had a home headline.
Yeah, Keyshawn still took the fight.
So he got a 6 pound jump. Ain't no telling what he gonna be by tomorrow night. God damn.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
I did not know that.
Absolutely right.
Where's the fight tonight, T-Hill? Puerto Rico, right? It's a card tonight on ESPN Plus too. I don't know anybody.
BoxLive, Box.live, or L-Dub.
Okay.
L-Dub. You got to push the brother. L-Dub, the good brother.
Yeah.
L-Dub. He always does fantastic work.
Yeah, I know.
Those are the 2 people that I go to for my sources.
Okay. Yeah. And then we got Boots Saturday. Bam on the card. Man, this is going to be a great weekend for boxing fans,
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's gonna be some action this weekend, man. So we're gonna get some good fights. And like I said, hopefully, man, we can direct our focus towards the fights instead of like things that are thought of or possibly in conjunction with. But I mean, we got some good fights this week, so we're gonna enjoy these
and the
fights.
Riyadh season too. Remember, we got a Riyadh season. Zerdo, Chris Billiard-Smith. That's a good card too. Yeah. Yeah, they had that like for Sunday because today the 7th, 8th, 9th. Yeah, it's like the 10th.
They're trying to make that Sunday thing pop.
Yeah, so that's good. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Yeah. Looking forward. I think that Keyshawn and Lemos is going to be good though. I thought Lemos beat Hitchens. What did you think about that one, Lemos and Hitchens?
I thought Lemos almost pulled it off.
Yeah.
I thought Hitchens did enough later on in the round to turn the fight around, but for a while it was getting bad for Hitchens. But he dug deep.
Some of that aggression was not effective for Lemos too now. So the judges would some judges would have gave it to him, but all of the aggression wasn't effective. But they must have some good judges.
I mean, I thought that the aggression was I thought it was spot on, man. It pressed him. It pressed.
But
you know,
later
it pushed him.
Hitchens was responding to it pretty well.
Yeah.
That's what
it just pressed him. It pressed him to a measure where he had to dig deep, man. He had to do something different than what he was able to do in any other fight, man. So, like, that's why I don't understand why he catches as much flack as he does, man, because he was made to be uncomfortable in that fight. You know, on top of that, the thing that he likes to do, the thing that he relies upon, it was taken from him, and he still found a way. He showed a whole lot of skill, too, and a lot of determination, man, because
Right.
Lemos is a bull, man. Like I say, I want to see how Keyshawn is able to navigate that fight.
Yeah, that's gonna be definitely the toughest. It's gonna be interesting.
It's a whole lot of pressure.
Gonna be interesting. I thought Lemos beat Hitchens, but you couldn't be mad because it was a good either way. It was a good fight, man. That's what we
very
want.
Good fight.
Like that, yeah. Ant McQueen is in the building. What's up, Ant? Did y'all go on today, Theo? I was busy around 12.
Ant McQueen is the guy right there.
Did y'all do a Casual's Corner today? I caught part of that one yesterday with George Foreman and Michael.
I was supposed to last night with him. We were gonna do Foreman and
You did Foreman and Moore yesterday. I saw that one.
No, my bad. Holmes and what's his name?
Okay. Spinks. Oh Lord, somebody horn over there. Come out of there, fix your horn.
Holmes and Ronaldo Snipes. I think it was Holmes and Ronaldo Snipes.
Okay.
But I was at work, man. I left my phone at the house. I had to scurry along when I got back home because like I was stuck in traffic and then I had to go make a couple of runs. And I made a mistake on one of the runs, so I had to go run back up there, and then I had to go check in to the plantation, man. So, you know, it was tough. And then after that, I had to stay up all night. I didn't go to bed till like 4-something, man. I had to stay up and take a test.
You said you went to the hospital. Is your for relative?
Yeah. I'm here right now.
Okay.
Here right now. So you know, I'm away from home, and I'm actually tending to like my aunt's friends' family right now.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, man, but
she's doing so much better right now, and then she got people around her that love and care for her, man. You know that makes all the difference in the world.
Yes, it does.
Because you got people. When you have people that care for you, then the people that's caring for you gonna care for you as well. And plus, one of her family members actually is a nurse, so that helps as well too.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's good. Yeah.
But shout out to the good brother Ant McQueen, man.
Yeah,
a solid brother.
Lemos is a pest.
Brother, that's depth of knowledge.
That's the perfect word for it, pest. You know, Lemos.
My man, and his new nickname is E.F. Hutton because when he talks, people listen.
Okay. E.F. Hutton.
E.F. Hutton, because when he talks, people listen.
People listen, right. Okay. Yeah. Attentive Aunt E.F. Hutton, the Queen. Okay. But I appreciate you, Teal. We're gonna get ready to get on up out of here, man.
Yeah, it's all ready for the just do the voice.
That's right.
The voice. You know, we just mentioned the value in Aunt McQueen. Mm-hmm. We had a good session with the Vision and Remo. Now it's time for the voice and just do. So we're gonna rock out, man. Great show that you had today, man. I just wanted to say thank you for the show. Thank you for the lesson, man. Appreciate the work that you put in, man.
I appreciate all your support.
Oh man, I try.
Big part.
You can just call me an athletic supporter because I got nothing but support, man.
Okay. Appreciate you though.
All right, David.
Okay, T. He'll take care. Hope everything goes well with your family member in the hospital. All right, that's Thomas Hill. We're gonna get ready to get up out of here now. Show some appreciation to everybody. Aunt McQueen, E.F. Hutton. When Aunt McQueen speaks, everybody listen. Donnie Williams, Thomas Hill, D. Free, Mike Grimm, Perry Akers, Bruce Gass, Boxing, Jazz, and more. Jarrell Hattie, Ken Saul Love 1, Just Do Boxing, Crush the Legend, Let's Talk Fashion, Ray Patterson, straight out of New Jersey. Define Arnie 1, Mike Mazik, Melanin Queen 27, and Miss Cass. Appreciate everybody. Join me tomorrow because you know, if it's Monday through Friday at 2 p.m., it's The Boxtorian, bringing you all that boxing history. Just Do Boxing is straight ahead. This is Cass Sports. Everybody have a great day. I will see y'all around those JBT streets.